This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining me today is the CEO of Giyani Metals, Robin Birchall. Hi, Robin.
Hi, very good to see you today.
Thank you very much for your time today. So Giyani Metals is listed on the TSXV in Canada. That's right, is it?
Correct.
And you're looking to move up to the main market.
That's right. We should be, as part of our planning for this year that we're doing right now, strategy and budget, we are planning to move from the venture exchange to the main market.
Okay. So it's the first time that we're speaking, Robin, and when I was researching the company, I noticed the headline, your headline statement, which is high purity manganese opportunity serving the electric vehicle market. So can we begin with a bit of an overview of Giyani Metals, the projects and the vision and your aims? What are you aiming for?
Sure, yeah. So our projects, look, what we are aiming for as we go forwards now in this next year is to finish the work that we've been working on that will bring us to the position that we will be one of the few producers of high purity, either manganese sulfate, monohydrate, which is a salt used in making cathodes, or electrolytic manganese metal. And high purity manganese metal that is also used by some cathode manufacturers to make the cathodes that go into the electric vehicles. So this year obviously is quite an important year for us. We are in the middle of our feasibility study. The work that we've done previously on the PEA shows at the bench scale that we can make the metal and the salts as required for the cathode manufacturers. And we will be going through this year in the feasibility study, and as part of the feasibility study, we will be building a demonstration plant. We should be announcing that very shortly. And that demonstration plant will move us from the bench scale up to a larger scale in order that we are able to qualify with a number of the large consumers of these battery packs and metals, such as Volkswagen.
Okay. So you recently also completed an oversubscribed private placement to raise $6.5 million. So that's a significant amount of money. So how well does that fund you into the future, and how do you plan to deploy it?
So, look, first of all, I'd like to thank the guys at Cormark. They did a fantastic job alongside Beacon Securities and Richardson Wealth. That was a syndicate for the private placement. The actual subscribed amount was 7.475 plus an additional 400,000 in warrants subscribed by our largest shareholder, Rap Capital. So we almost raised just a tad short of $8 million. Those funds for this year, those funds will fund us through all of this year's activities, which is considerably expanded, as was detailed in the announcements. As I mentioned just now, we would like to move forward with the demonstration plant. We will also be expanding our exploration to at least two of our other project sites, which is Otse and Lobatse. They're about 25 to 35 kilometers distant from our existing project, which is the Cahill project. So yeah, those funds, look, that's a transformative transaction for the company. We are now fully funded for all of the activities, including our G&A. That should take us all the way through until sometime next year, fully funded, which should get us to the end of the feasibility study and getting us prepared to break ground. So yeah, very, very pleased about that. Excellent job done by the guys. And of course, as a result of the work done by them, we are expecting in the next couple of weeks research coverage to come out from both Cormark and Beacon Securities.
Okay, well, could look forward to that coming out then. They're always interesting to read, those reports that come out. So you've got a package of 3 projects in Botswana, all manganese, all 100% owned. So what is it you like about them, and what's the plan to develop them?
So look, when I joined the company back in 2017, the process that I used was a process that I learned at one of the banks that I worked for, which was to do technical due diligence, walk the properties, and to speak to some of the industry figures that I know to get a view on the quality of the projects. To be honest, they turned out to be better than I realized at the time. Because in late 2017, early 2018, we raised some money. At that point, it was really I guess the first price rise in the cycle for lithium and cobalt. So there was quite a bit of interest in battery metals. That's when I realized that actually we had a pretty interesting set of projects. And then as we developed them and we did the work that we did over the next couple of years in terms of drilling them out, getting a maiden resource, and putting a PEA on them, that's when we realized that what we had, while not completely unique in the world, is quite special. And that is that we have a combination of factors that give us a competitive advantage. One is that relative to most of our competitors, they're quite high grade. Two, they are relatively low in deleterious elements. Three, they're near to surface. And four, we're very close to infrastructure. So when you add all of these components together, that is what gives us a large competitive advantage. We can produce, well, it would be a final product for us, but it's an intermediary product for the industry, for the value chain of automobiles. We can produce a product that is, that has a sale value of somewhere in the sort of $4,000 to $5,000 a ton pure metal basis, and that is huge savings in terms of our carbon footprint for shipping empty tons of waste, and it gives us a large competitive advantage in terms of our operating cost and the margin on our product. So while none of them are specifically special and unique, when you add all of them together, it is quite unique.
Okay. And what is manganese then, Robin, and where is it used in battery metals?
So it's a transition metal. It sits next to nickel and cobalt and vanadium and chrome and things like that as a transition metal. Its primary use in the past has always been steel. So the buildings that are in the picture behind you, they have a steel frame and they are strengthened with manganese. So manganese gives it a property that makes it very strong but able to bend without cracking. The industry is moving towards the automobile sector. Well, it's going very rapidly, to be honest. And its usage in the same metal is used in the cathode. And the cathode is, there's two sides to the battery, the anode and the cathode, and the electrons flow from one to the other to create the current, which is the power to turn the wheels in your vehicle. And the cathode there's a number of cathode chemistries. The predominant one is nickel, manganese, cobalt, NMC, sometimes referred to as NCM. And it's a special patented process. And if you there's some industry research you can see in some videos and things like that of how they take the salts, which are red, green, and blue. It's almost like a children's coloring set. They mix them together. They're water soluble. They then dry them and calcine them to create a very pure oxide product, which they print onto usually aluminum or aluminium, depending on which continent you're in, foil. And that basically is the cathode in your battery pack. Sometimes they fold them, sometimes they're circular. I mean, they're trying to drop the price of these things the whole time. But it looks like a black powder, a bit like what you see in a printer cartridge, and they print it directly onto the aluminum.
Okay, and the market for this is looking bright for the future, then, is it?
Yeah, look, if you look at the numbers that, say, for example, Mr. Musk at Tesla is talking about, wow, him alone would be something like 25 times the material that we can forecast to produce. So, there's a lot of space. There's a few other good companies in the space. You can look them up on the market. There's not going to be enough supply for the demand that is rising at the moment. And as we see, I believe that you're based in the Netherlands. In January, December, months, 69% of new vehicles sold in the Netherlands were either plug-in hybrid or battery electric vehicle. It was the leading market in Europe, overtaking Norway. And as you can see in the UK, we went from 1 in 30 new vehicles sold in 2019 as either a battery electric or plug-in hybrid to 1 in 10. Now, I know it's been an interesting year for car sales, but that's still a huge jump. And we're not even scratching the surface of where they want to be in 5 years' time.
Okay, great. So I wonder if we could just move on to talk about the team at the company and the experience that they bring collectively, specifically working in such a jurisdiction as Botswana, which is, of course, a lot of people know it's a very good place to do business.
Yeah, so look, we have an excellent team. We've spent the last 3 years, just adding piece by piece to the team to get to where we are now. So I'm very pleased with the shape of the team. We will be adding more people this year. The capital allows us to fill out, I would say, more in the sort of the middle ranks, below the senior people, which will allow us to progress a little bit more rapidly. But starting with when I joined, almost immediately within 2 or 3 months, my ex-colleague, in fact, he was my boss in the banking sector probably about 10 years ago. Mike Jones joined us as independent non-executive director. He's a good example of the team in that he worked in Botswana for 8 years towards the beginning of his career. And through him, we have added probably one of our most important in-country additions, a person called Tuzo Dikaka. He is the non-executive chairman of our local subsidiary. He's kind of mining royalty in Botswana. He's been both in government, he's been at the regulator, he's run some of the biggest mines. He was first mining manager at Orapa after Mike. And yeah, like that gives you a good flavor of the kind of team that we've been able to put together. Tuzo joined us in the middle of last year. Mike joined us at the beginning of 2018. We've got some other excellent people on board, both local and expats. To be quite frank, we'll be very expat light because the skill levels and skill base in Botswana is excellent. I'm not even sure. I mean, look, South Africa's a bigger market and more people live there, but probably the skill base is probably higher in Botswana, or very, very close. So you're talking about close to developed world standards, very, very close. They're on the verge of entering the high income countries. So yeah, we can get all the people we need in country, which is great.
Okay, fantastic. So let's just look briefly on the economics then. I believe it's quite a low capex and a high RRR. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So look, as we mentioned before, this is a function of those particular advantages we have, which is infrastructure as well as grade and proximity to power and things like that. So the IRRs are currently about 82%. The NPV is just short of 400 million on a post-tax 10% discount rate. So we're pretty pleased with that. We're redoing we redid our PA last year. We are doing another update specifically for manganese sulfate monohydrate. That should be out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I would expect another increase in NPV there again. So yeah, I'm really pleased. And the drilling that's going on now, we should be updating the drilling, I don't know, maybe next week, the week after. We would expect that there will be an increase in the resource size and probably a reserve that is slightly larger than our original resource. That'll add some, it'll fill out the back end and add some years to the mine life and increase the NPV again as well. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of announcements that are coming out we have about 10 or 11 announcements that should come out in the next 4 or 5 months. Most of them are, 85 to 95% done at the moment. For example, I would expect that we'll be filing our ESIA very soon. Most of the work streams in that are complete or are going to be complete very soon. Some of the other things I've mentioned previously, we're expecting to announce our solar study very soon. We're expecting to announce the commencement of the a demonstration plant. We'll announce the recompletion of the PEA. So lots of activity, mostly because we were quite well advanced on that before the capital was raised in the back end of last year, and that additional capital just allows us to plow on, at full speed ahead.
Okay. So as you said there, lots of stuff to come over the next few months. What would be some sort of highlight bits that perhaps you're looking forward to, and then investors can sort of watch out for?
Well, there's two sets of things. There's things that the market likes and things that are technically important. Technically important is the ESIA. It's very hard to attribute a value to that, but I've seen, having been in the market, 20 years or whatever it is now, I've seen a lot of projects fail because they can't get their ESIA. If you look at one of our competitors, they announced something on their ESIA process recently, and they were up like 50% over the day. So sometimes the market will appreciate the value of it. Sometimes it doesn't. But for me, that's a very important one. And then some of the ones that the market might like is, I'm sure we'll be able to announce something in relation to potential buyers in the not too distant future. Look, a lot depends on what they allow us to say and to not say. They're obviously very, very strict about those kind of things, but we would hope that we'll become a tier 2 supplier into their value chain in the not too distant future. Of course, the demonstration plant will be the qualification phase of that, but we will at least enter into the first phase of that. I think the market will see things like that and the revised PEA as value accretive. But to me, the technical things are very important as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Robin Birchall, the CEO of Giyani Metals, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.